used to be with it. Then they changed what it was. Now what I'm with isn't it, and what's it seems weird and scary to me. It'll happen to you.
What I'm with, come out to play.
What's happening to me?
Come out to play.
I don't know if that came through, but there are dogs upstairs. And they just heard that.
They heard that and they freaked out.
Very upset. Why did you do that?
Today's episode is brought to you by a word.
Warriors?
Warriors.
Whoa.
The Warriors. Have you seen this film?
No.
What?
No.
Okay. So, this was one of those moments in time that encapsulated just how crummy 1979 New York was in a whimsical understanding of organized crime. So,
Robocopian?
no, it's so there are the basic idea. You have to watch this movie.
Okay.
Before our recap episode, you have to watch this movie.
Okay.
The basic idea is that there are all of these different themed gangs. The Warriors being the eponymous gang. Mm-hmm. And they are brought to a massive convocation of all of the gangs to be united under the leadership of Cyrus. Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
I mean, I've heard these things before.
Yes.
Yeah, with a
They're
shovel,
in the
I could
zeitgeist.
dig it.
These are in the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
And you can bring, I forget, I think it's like everyone can bring 8 people or 7 people, something like that. It's a small number that per representative per gang. Mm-hmm. No weapons. So you all gather together. Cyrus gives you the big pitch, and you go home. Except a gang murders Cyrus with a gun, frames the Warriors, and the Warriors have to get from where they are to where they're from.
So across all 5 boroughs?
All 5 boroughs.
Like the Beastie Boys say?
All 5, yes. Mm-hmm. And there's like roller skating clown gang.
Yep.
There's, I mean, like real life.
Yeah,
the Warriors are very Native American themed. Mm-hmm. There's oh gosh, I'm trying to remember. There's like French beret wearing. There's mimes. There's a mime gang.
So far, the most terrifying I've ever heard of.
So, this movie, I'm not going to spoil it for you because you haven't seen it. In the opening sequence is one of my favorite things I've ever seen in a movie ever. These are gangs. Gangs are made up of criminals. Mm-hmm. They ride the subway. Mm-hmm. The leader of the Warriors puts a coin in for each of his guys, and they go through the turnstile having paid.
Gotham deserves a better class of criminal.
They do deserve a better class.
I'm going to give it to them.
So, I don't want to spend too much time on the movie The Warriors because we have a lot to cover under the name Warrior.
Okay.
So, we've got film covered. Mm-hmm. Before we move on, what's in the box?
If it's a severed head, I'm going to be fairly upset.
It'd be a weird severed head. So, we're playing a game.
Okay.
You can guess at any time, and the number of points you get diminishes over time. So, with the least amount of information, if you want to guess immediately what's in that box, knowing almost nothing, I will give you 4 points.
Maybe something about a basketball team called the Warriors?
Okay. Let me explain the rules.
Okay. I don't know what
Don't
we're
throw
doing.
away your guess.
I don't know what we're doing.
So it's if you guess, you've guessed, and you can't ever guess again.
Oh.
So we'll call that. We'll scrub that.
Okay.
So you can wait until you think you have enough information to guess what's in that box.
Oh, so you're going to start telling me things.
Oh, this is gonna progress.
Okay.
Until and the number of points will diminish.
But are there categories? Is this like...
we're covering so much under one word, Tim.
Do I have to do the thing with charades where it's like 2 words?
No.
4 syllables.
There will just be no. I did like that. Oh, it's because of the can't. My framing doesn't let me do that as easily. Anyway, there was an arcade game, an Atari arcade game, in the I had it in my notes and I didn't bring my notes. It was either late 70s, early 80s. It was one of the first PvP games ever made. It was you on one joystick, your opponent on the other, called Warrior.
Joust.
Warrior.
I was way off.
So you're top down, you're wireframe,
Okay.
and the developers wanted it to be 2 joysticks per player. One joystick to move, one to swing your sword.
Okay.
No. No, too expensive.
Oh.
So the solution, you move, you push a button to switch, then you swing.
Wow.
It's a nightmare. I've played it.
Kind of like in Doom 3 where you have flashlight or gun.
Yeah, but that was an intentional mechanic to make the game challenging and scary. And
worked.
Yeah, it was great. Doom 3 is a masterpiece.
Yes.
Warrior, there were like 500 cabinets made. It did not make it to Time Out Arcade, our childhood arcade. I actually have played it on a ROM emulator just because I wanted to understand how it's pretty universally panned.
Okay.
So
I've never heard of it. So.
I hadn't either, but in preparation for the show, I was like, I need content based on a single word.
Okay. Warrior.
So after this, we can fire up the emulator. You can check it out. It's a little broken, but I'll explain that. It's an emulator. I mean,
I could just watch it on YouTube and not have to punish myself.
You could watch it on YouTube, but I really want you to experience moving and then having to push a button.
Okay.
To swing.
Because in my head, I was like, what would be really clever is you hold down on the button and then you're swinging and then you let go of the button. No. Button is like...
either or. It's not a... Yeah, it's not a...
But that was probably too far
That may have been actually a bit of a programming hurdle at the time. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
So
the arcade cabinet Warrior is not in the box. I've eliminated that.
You've eliminated that, as well as something about a basketball team that may share the name. There might be a Warriors basketball team. That sounds right to me.
I think there... Well, Wasn't that DC's basketball team and then they renamed them
No.
Wizards?
We were the Bullets.
That's what it was.
And
a little too violent.
That was a little too on the nose.
Yeah.
So,
what's that thing we dodge in this city all the time?
All right, yeah. So we've eliminated a couple options for what's in the box. Now, I cheated a little bit. I was curious if there was a band called Warrior.
Okay.
We're talking about one single word here today. We're talking about Warrior. There is. There's an 80s metal band called Warrior.
Nice.
They didn't really chart. They're good. I listened to them. I think they're a solid metal band, but...
What type of metal? Like the hair metal?
Yeah, like in the hair metal.
Arena rock?
Yeah,
type?
yeah.
Okay.
It was very reminiscent of Poison and stuff like that.
That's
so
what I pictured in my head.
Yeah,
I see the big curly
and they're like, if you fire up a audio streaming service and look for their top track, it's good.
Okay. I'll get on a web crawler and look that up.
Yeah. Ask Jeeves. He'll tell you. And we have another running trend. But there's another song from another band whose first word in the song is Warrior.
So this whole time, all I've had in my head is this is the part about being over 40.
Yeah, where the brain is just like
Secret and Whisper, the song.
Yeah, that's not the one I wanted in your head.
Yeah,
that's the one I wanted in your head goes Warrior, apprentice, disciple,
Van Canto.
Van Canto. So I wanted to share. I wanted to share this with the world because it was shared to me. Mm-hmm. There's a band out there called Van Canto.
Yes.
Link underneath somewhere.
Maybe
maybe
of them
I don't know how that
woods
works.
Right here. Well, just a still frame.
The still, yeah.
Look at them.
Yeah,
look at them in the woods.
So, with the grand exception of the drummer, it is an a cappella heavy metal band.
Yes.
And the song goes, reedly deedly 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 dum dum.
Well, sometimes it goes dum dum dum
dum dum dum dum.
Yeah, because it hits the...
Yeah, it has to get that really chunky, like, drop D, maybe even drop C.
Yep.
Guitar.
And
it's not ironic, and it's not bad.
That's the thing. You actually have to look this up because what we're describing sounds like insane people doing something really stupid for the memes.
Yeah, but this feels pre-meme. This feels like...
It does, and they're into it. Like, they're sincere.
Yes. That thing. Sincerity. I'd forgotten what that was. So yeah, Van Canto, the Wishmaster is the song, and it is hands down one of the coolest things that ever got shared to me on the internet.
Yeah,
I loved it.
It is equal parts great and hilarious.
Yeah, and
it's not supposed to.
and it oscillates because it's like you're cracking up because of just what it is, but then you're like, but this is really good though.
Yeah,
like really good.
Female vocalist who's got pipes.
Oh, she's got some serious pipes, yeah.
Like,
and the drummer's sick, and
Yep.
like the acapella dudes doing the other instruments are phenomenal, and
Yeah. But
it upsets me that something that silly is that good. But it also kind of makes me think of like Metalocalypse, like Deathclock. It's metal satire, but it's also some of the best metal out there.
yeah,
like
you can go and see.
yeah, you can see
Deathclock.
Deathclock. I assume Brandon Small
I
tours with
assume
them.
as
I
well.
haven't actually seen them live. I had an opportunity and I didn't take it, and I regret that a little bit.
Yeah.
But we're going to transition now to another warrior,
Okay.
and this one has a battle cry. I wonder if you know it.
I'm
I'm sailing up here.
I'm a babe in the woods.
So
there's weird people saying "readily deedly dee" around me, and I have no idea what's going
now
on.
I'm going to go like "Yay, yay, yay, yay," or something like that, because I don't think I could do Lucy Lawless's iconic battle cry. But in 1990, a certain side character appeared on Hercules, the legendary.
Xena, right?
Yeah, I just can't remember the full title of the Hercules show now. It's the Legendary Journey.
Hercules, the Legendary Journeys.
So this was one of the top charting action dramas on TV, and they introduced what was supposed to be a limited run, 3-episode arc character named Xena,
Warrior
Princess.
Oh, so we're allowed to put other names around Warrior.
Well, I said we're focusing on one word.
Okay.
But it can be in a sandwich. It can be the meat.
I think I know what might be. I have an idea of what could be in there.
Interesting.
We'll
it's,
see. It's one word and then the word with an S on the end of it.
Interesting.
We'll
so
see.
it's worth it. What was it? Was it 3 points at the beginning? I forget what I said.
I think you said 4.
Well, we're down to 2 now
Check.
because we've been going through some stuff.
So can I go ahead and make my guess right now?
Make your guess.
Something related to the new Warriors.
Okay. I need you to be a little more specific because it is a specific thing.
So, okay. I'm looking at the shape of the box.
Yes.
It has to be tube shaped. So it is either a rolled up poster or it is Thrasher's Thrash-a-majig.
Yeah.
Wait, did he have he had the knife thing that came out. Is it a knife thing that comes
Yeah, because I decided to murder you in your house in the studio.
Yeah.
On camera.
So it's what else is from the new Warriors? Man, he had a skateboard, but that's
While
not
you
gonna be
pontificate,
okay. But I'm
so-
claiming 1 point for new Warriors.
I will grant you, if you're right, I will grant you that.
Okay.
We'll fast forward and put it up in the thing or whatever.
All right.
So Xena was actually did you know she was supposed to be killed off?
I didn't know that, but did you also know that Lucy Lawless played a character before Xena on Hercules: The Legendary Journeys? Yeah, she played. There was like this town that was overrun by, was it? I guess it was centaurs, and
Sure, historical fiction. Yep.
yeah, and
The centaurs that used to exist.
there were like bad centaurs and good centaurs, and she was with one
yeah,
of the
I
good
mean-
ones, and she was some kind of
So she was a horse person.
no, she was a lady who was friends with a horse person, and so she was like the main one-off character for this.
I
episode.
can't hear centaur without thinking of Christopher Walken.
centaur.
It was a horse. We don't hire filthy centaurs. SNL sketch. Chris Parnell.
Yeah.
As a centaur applying for he got us. It's so good.
Yeah, but because I watched the first season of Hercules recently, and I
watched the first 2 episodes.
Okay.
I haven't caught up to you.
want to say it's like maybe episode 4 or 5, and I was like, oh, it's Xena. Is this supposed to be Xena? And it's like, oh, it's not Xena.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I guess she was because they were filming in New Zealand. I guess she's a Kiwi. I haven't looked up her bio.
I mean, she's either New Zealand or Australian.
Yeah.
I can't tell.
Potato to us.
Right.
Yeah, take your feud somewhere else.
Cheap.
Yeah, right. Cheap. South. We don't care.
Yeah.
One of you has Lord of the Rings. The other one of you has murder beaches. And murder jungles, murder fields, murder mailboxes, like the spiders.
I have been to Australia, and I encountered 0 murder animals, so I was a little disappointed. Though the best that I got was I went through Central Park, and it was around a lake, and bats everywhere in trees, like big.
Oh, nice.
Bats.
Nice. I've seen a bat emergence in Florida, of course. And one of our friends moved there, and when I was visiting, we went to a park, and they emerged from a. It was very Floridian.
These guys were just chilling. They were sleeping.
This was the Florida bat. I mean, like Florida man, but bat. Yeah.
It was. Where was I again in Australia? It was one of their capital cities.
Perth?
No, that's West Coast. This was
you
East
weren't
Coast.
You weren't in Sydney. You
no,
were in that
it was
other one.
Canberra.
Okay.
And they modeled it after Washington, D.C.
Interesting.
So there are a lot of monuments, and
That's
it has a
interesting.
D.C.-ish thing. Because my taxi driver was taking me to the hotel and asking where I was from. I was like, I'm from the D.C. area. And he's like, oh, do you know that this town is actually modeled after D.C.? I'm like, oh, I had no idea.
Didn't realize we're such a young country. I didn't realize we influenced any other countries.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It was beautiful, though. I did enjoy it quite a bit.
So Xena,
Yes.
phenomenal show. It actually surpassed Hercules in ratings. It was like in the top 5 for most of its run. It ran from like 95 to 01, 130 something episodes. We kind of were starved for good content in the late 90s, early 2000s. We had, a couple standout shows like the Star Trek shows and Babylon 5. But the Xena was...
Xena never... I remember watching Hercules. I never really got into Xena.
Yeah.
But I'm sure...
according to the audience and the critics, it was a better show. Now, I'm still going through Hercules, and I have not gone back through Xena other than a few clips just to get it fresh in my head. But yeah.
How can I say this as masculinely as possible? Does it have Kevin Sorbo?
Sometimes.
Okay.
And he wears as much vest as he ever wears.
Okay.
So it's still got some Sorbo in it.
Okay, we're celebrating the strength of men.
Yes, we celebrate Kevin Sorbo.
Yes, we do.
Now, you get your point.
Okay.
Because all of this is a roundabout journey to... Oh, gosh, that didn't work. The New Warriors.
Yes.
So, this is issue 1 of The New Warriors.
Night Thrasher, Speedball.
Oh.
So
Marvel Boy.
Marvel Boy,
I
who
forgot that
he
name.
changes his name in about 30 to 40 issues in.
Okay.
We get some additions. No real subtractions. I mean, so growing up, we had a tight group of friends, and 4 of us at least got really deep into Marvel Comics.
Yes.
And we kind of divided and conquered.
Yep.
And,
By that we mean we would each focus on different...
Right. So you were
runs.
very Spider-Man
Yes.
heavy.
I have a lot of Spider-Mans.
And I was Captain America and the New Warriors.
Yep.
And then we had a Daredevil friend. We had an Iron Man Fantastic Four friend.
Yep.
I think we all kind of dabbled in the Avengers.
Yeah.
But
it was
felt
mostly
more
crossovers.
like Galactic Storm and Infinity Gauntlet and things like that. I wanted to bring it up when we went to the comic store a few days ago. None of us gravitated to Thor.
Yeah.
Like, Thor is an original classic. Oh, we all did X-Men. All of us. Like, across the board, we all had X-Men.
Well, I think this is just a product of getting into comics in the 90s and what was popular
Well,
then.
I think at that point, Thor might not have been Asgardian. I think that might have been when Eric...
I was going to say when Frank Thorberg became
Right.
Thor,
Yeah,
like
it
some
was just
random
dude,
guy.
Some dude gets the power of Thor, can turn it off and on, and it just... Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very 90s, just like... I mean, this says heroes for the 90s. I mean, these are the young, rebellious,
The Poochies.
yes, they are the Poochie of Marvel Comics. Also, quite possibly the most 1990s character ever created is Night Thrasher. So he is skateboarding Black Batman.
With knife thingy that
comes out. So he has almost the identical backstory to Bruce Wayne. He had wealthy parents who were murdered in front of him. And then he becomes a superhero for revenge, etc. Instead of Alfred, he's got Cord.
Okay.
There's a lot of ties to Vietnam, a lot of mysticism, because obviously Marvel has a lot of stuff in mysticism, and he skateboards and fights crime, which I can't think of a more 90s thing than to include skateboarding and crime fighting.
I mean, all he's missing is a bag of Doritos in his backpack.
And maybe some Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's the team leader, he assembles it, but he's a very tortured character. So I think I started on issue 8 or 9. I never actually owned issue 1. I got the trade of like the first 8 or 10 or whatever, which kind of filled in that down the line. But it tackled, like, you know, when you get nostalgic about something and you're like, oh, there's no way it's actually good.
Yeah.
It's just this thing I remember from when I was impressionable. This is good.
Okay.
Like, I was shocked. It hits some really heavy topics. I mean, you get child abuse, you get murder, you get betrayal. I mean, these are all really, with the exception of Speedball, who is the other side of the most 90s coin.
Yeah.
He's their Spider-Man. He's their plucky comic relief.
Yeah, Michelangelo.
Yeah.
Of the Ninja Turtles.
Yes. So they cover the whole 90s spectrum in this, but it's grown up. It's really
Is it remarkably dialogue heavy?
It's very dialogue
Because
heavy.
I've been rereading the X-Men 1991 run, and I was like, oh my, I'm like about 10 issues in. It's very dialogue heavy, and compared to modern comics.
Yeah. So I found on Electronic Bay, I found issues 1 through 50 for a very reasonable price. So I got the first 50 issues.
Okay.
And I've read, with the exception of a few, the last few that are a crossover that include Nova and Night Thrasher issues. I'm like, oh crap! Like, now I have to go back and get those. I've read the first 40 of 50 roughly, and it is such a good comic. Like, I was shocked.
Nice.
They tackle a lot of heavy topics, criminal justice. I mean, it's grown up, and I remember it being kind of silly because I felt. I mean, I didn't feel it at the time. I was a kid at the time, but like looking back, I was like, oh, I probably just got relegated these guys because all the cool stuff was taken.
Or I just picked this because I like to cover.
Yeah. And there are some great. I mean, we've got my favorite cover back there of Nova doing his. Yeah.
You might recognize his suit design from the Guardians of the
Guardians,
Galaxy.
yeah, because the Nova Corps,
Yeah.
he inherited the...
If you're in the Normie-verse, you'll understand.
Yes, you'll understand that if you didn't go on in the deep dive. So, with that said, with all of this covered, you have your 1 point. What's in the box?
What's the box?
What's in the box?
I genuinely have no idea.
Okay. Well, I was thrilled when I found this. I found this for $12 American. This...
Dude.
hung in
Okay, let me grab this.
the bedroom.
Wow.
That might be the first poster I ever owned.
I have not seen this in so long.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Didn't even remember that it existed until seeing it.
Yeah. It's like...
Because that's how I know the knife thingy that comes out.
Yeah.
Because there is kind of flipping you a very aggressive bird.
Yeah. He's...
Oh, who's the big guy near
Rage.
you? Rage.
Rage.
Okay,
He tried out for the Avengers. He had some other stuff. Yeah. He's a very young man.
Okay, because
He's like 10.
10.
He's very young.
Okay.
So I forget his exact origin, but he got super size and super strength, and he's like pubescent or prepubescent. He's very young.
Okay.
Which
I was like, is
he
that Luke
straight up
Cage?
murders some people.
I guess yeah.
They kill his grandma. Spoiler alert. And he gets his revenge. But it's poor little Elwyn. So yeah, I don't know. We'll have to find a place of honor for this because this hung at least in my bedroom. It may have still been our shared bedroom when I got this.
Probably was.
So this hung in a bedroom one or both of us lived in for years. And
nothing back here is permanent.
No, so I might put it under the basketball hoop or whatever.
Or we can move that to the side and put it.
Whatever. But this just I saw it and I was like, well, since this set is a recreation of our childhood, this is kind of like single tier. Like, when this came in the mail, this was the one I kept telling you about. It was like, I'm ready to do an episode except for one thing, and when it finally showed up, I was like, but it was yeah, bad timing. So
I have all the stuff for one, except I just need to consume a item of content first to be fully up to speed.
I understand that. There's a couple that I've got where I'm like,
So,
but yeah. So speaking of consuming content, your homework is to watch The Warriors.
yeah, it's one of those I've always meant to watch.
It's so worth it.
And this is what I remember most is that if you remember in the mid 2000s ish, there was a format war between Blu-ray and HD DVD.
I do remember that, and you bought into HD DVD.
I did think
Because of the Xbox, I think.
Well, it was before the Xbox got the player, but it was that they were offering, on one side was the DVD, on the other side was the HD DVD. So it's
also,
one disc.
Sony was backing Blu-ray, and Sony lost with beta in the VHS beta.
Yeah, so there were a few things going on
Yeah.
there. But anyway, walking into the Best Buy to look for HD DVDs, and there weren't many when it first came out, but Warriors was one of them. And just thinking, what should I get it?
You should have. I wish this was in my cultural, personal zeitgeist. I was aware of it, but I watched it front to back for the first time this year.
Okay.
I had seen clips. I was like, there's even a 2007 or 2017, something like that, Warriors video game.
Okay.
That is a direct adaptation.
I think I remember that. Was that a Rockstar game?
I think it looked like one. It might not have been one, but it had the look of one.
Okay.
Big open and lots of punchy. And,
It's doing a thing, making some synapses fire. Yeah. But yeah, it's there are actually, I won't say, but there are a few movies that I have watched this year.
Oh,
finally,
likewise.
after not for a
likewise to prep for future episodes.
Yeah, and just there is something in the air right now with nostalgia for the 80s and 90s.
Well, I mean, it's. I don't think we realized how good we had it at the time. It's.
I think the algorithms that program our entertainment and try to make things for everyone end up making them for no one.
Well, yeah, I agree. I think I've said that not only about entertainment but about so many things in life. You just cannot be all things to all people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just you need to kind of find your audience, find your lane.
Yeah.
And,
I don't think when they made The Warriors, having never seen it, they were thinking, this is going to appeal to suburban mothers, inner city kids.
It's
middle of the country farming communities.
Sure.
We got the Marvel Avengers universe
right
up to that point, and it just magically happened to appeal to most
people. Sometimes there's lightning in a bottle, but it's very rare, and it's never on purpose. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
I saw a post recently, and it was movies that were in a theater, and it was like The Lost Boys, RoboCop, Goonies.
Yes,
and all of these appealed to they were specific genres and appealed to specific subgroups in general. Mm-hmm. But all of them are classics.
Yes,
and beloved.
And have
by many types of people.
And there's crossovers across different audiences. But yeah,
and it's like, wow, maybe just. Hey, hey, Hollywood.
Since you're watching, obviously,
clearly,
you care what us think.
Yeah,
you care what us.
There's our first T-shirt. Yeah. Our first T-shirt. You care what us think. If it's happening, it is actually happening. There's a link here.
Link here to buy. You care what us.
And okay,
all right.
Let's wrap it up.
All right. Well, I'm Dave. This is my brother Tim. You care what us think.
You care what us think.